So, Toxapex is a Pokemon that was introduced in Sun and Moon, and he got a brand new ability called Merciless, which always crits if the opponent is poisoned, which is a really cool ability, but it's never seen in competitive because it's constantly overshadowed by not only Regenerator, probably one of the best abilities in the game, he gets it as a hidden ability, but also the fact that his attack stats are like really abhorred. So he kind of needs the crits, to be honest. But with these defense stats and getting Regenerator, there's like no use in ever using Merciless. So I made a Toxapex with Merciless. So the way this team works is that we have Toxapex here as the wind condition because that's who the video is about. I gave him max special attack. I decided on special attack and not physical attack because Venoshock doubles power if the opponent is poisoned. So if the opponent's poisoned, Venoshock doubles in power and then always crits with Merciless, which seems bonkers. I gave him Toxic Spikes just in case, as well as Baneful Bunker if the opponent isn't already poisoned. I also gave him max HP stats because there's no way he's gonna even try to outspeed, even with a Joy Scarf. The other team members are just here to either poison the opposing team or to not get swept by like a rock type or a ground type. I also don't have, also steel types. Lush kind of works on steel types, or psychic types too. Because a lot of Pokemon that poison are poison types. So we have Poison Mommy here with Corrosion, which always poisons. Oh, okay. Which can poison Pokemon that cannot be poisoned. The poison types and the steel types. I also gave him Toxic, all poison type moves because it's poison episode, baby. It's really interesting, some of these moves. Venom Drench and Corrosive Gas, I believe they only work if the opposing Pokemon is poisoned, which is the whole goal of the team, so that's pretty good. So it poisons with Toxic, poisons the Steel and the poison types, and then gets a Venom Drench to decrease attack, special attack, and speed of poison foes by 1, which is really good, because then he can switch out or just go for a Venoshock kill. Also Corrosive Gas to keep to nullify the opposing Pokemon's held items, in case I need to do that. Whipped Cream Muffin here is basically my leads with Toxic Spikes and Stealth Rocks for some extra chip, usually very helpful. Recover for better stall, and Earthquake for an attacking move. We have Jack here, who guarantees good switch-ins with Citrus Berry, Regenerator, Shed Tail, allowing him to switch out and set up a substitute for the next Pokemon, but that's really the only thing he's here for. It's mostly for switches into Poison Mommy because her defensive stats are trash. And sometimes I need to poison those Steel and Poison types. It's snowing here so that I don't get swept by ground types, and Lush here so I don't get swept by rock and psychic types, as stated earlier. Roll is against this ragtag group of friends. Actually, never mind, he just left. That seemed to be quite a common theme. I have a couple. This happened a couple of times. This was just the first time it happened. It happened multiple times that people just left. And I think it's because people hate Toxapex for some reason. They don't even know that this is a merciless Toxapex that attacks. Whatever. Real first battle. It's the second time I've said that. This is a really good showcase of merciless Toxapex. He leads with the Lapini, Mega Lapini, which is very scary. This return does so much damage, but I get super lucky with the poison point. Wait. toxic spikes? They're not showing up. There are toxic spikes. Trust me, there are toxic spikes. They're there, you just can't see them. I completely forget that Megalapone is fighting type, so I kind of just sack Poor Lush on accident. But Poison is really chipping away, and the decreased speed allows Salazzle, Poison Mommy, to go first and Venoshock him right away. And then he sends in the Lucario. The fool sends in the only Pokemon that cannot be poisoned by Toxic Spikes on the only Pokemon that can poison him. So I get the Toxic off on him. He goes for a, he goes for this Nasty Plot, which is pretty scary. Special Lucario. But fortunately enough for me, I get to nullify his Salic Berry. Aura Sphere takes most of Salazzle's health. I figured that a Venom Drench will help Salazzle survive, but apparently not. But now his speed is down and his special attack is down. Speed doesn't really matter, but Toxapex, House, he's able to just clean up with very little trouble. God of War comes in and is poisoned by the toxic spikes that are definitely there. I have to switch out here though because Psyshock really threatens Toxapex really bad. He switches into this Incineroar because even though Thundurus really can't do anything, I guess he does. I mean, technically he doesn't know that because, well, I mean, he was out of all the Pokemon, he was my only switch-in because Jack is weak to Fairy. He ends up switching in Reunergus eventually. I forgot to commentate on what happened with it snowing, but he doesn't really do much because they don't have ground or power. Ground is for electric types, right? Electric was also a problem, even though I have a ground type. 2 ground types. Electric types weren't a problem, but I gave him hidden power ground anyway. But yeah, he can't really do much. He's at 13, but I decided to switch into Jack because Reunergus is typically stalls, and he can't really do much against Jack. So I get a good Shed Tail in to switch in Toxapex for the free switch Earthquake, but because Reunergus is so slow, no, it's not. Sorry, I lied. He was still gonna outspeed Toxapex no matter what. If he had like any speed EVs, he might not have. But Earthquake, it's a fair switch into Thundurus, who can then take him out with a Grass Knot. Which Rocky Helmet, for some reason, Grass Knot does like contact. Yeah, sure. So Rocky Helmet takes out its Snowing. It's 3-2, and Psyshock, he gets a crit. Of course he does. And I forget that he's a Fairy type and Dragon Tail isn't gonna do anything. And I guess they're at a speed tie or something, because then I go first, and he goes for a Draining Kiss. But now he has Regenerator, which is not good. I switch in Toxapex, expecting a Psyshock again, because that would probably take him out, so I Terra Steel to resist it. But now I'm weak to Incineroar. So, and he switches out. I don't know why he did, but he did. So now Gardevoir and Vaporeon here, they're not threats, but Incineroar is a huge threat to House. I'm at full health right now. He's spamming Wish for some reason. He just really wants him to stay alive. And then he goes for a Flip Turn, which doesn't really do much, into the Incineroar on a Venoshock kill, which is the best for me, because now I just take out the rest of his team with Venoshock. Yay! So yeah, then he forfeits because he doesn't want to see Vaporeon die. But that's just that merciless Toxapex going through that entire team. This match was long, tedious, and my next turn button isn't working for some reason. I can't hit next turn. But it was here. I'll go to the last turn. It was a 6-0 sweep, but the only reason I'm not showing it is because Toxapex got 1 kill the entire game, and it was on the Komodo, who only used Drain Punch, which the house resists, so it doesn't really. Yeah. The Blissey was annoying, but nothing really eventful happened during the entire game. So, this is a pretty funny rage quit. My lead is always Clodsire to get those toxic spikes off. He U-turns immediately into Dusknoir. I don't think anyone here has a really good matchup against Clodsire. And that poison point always coming in clutch. Oh, I'm so lucky with these poison points. I switch in Toxapex because I didn't think Dusknoir was doing anything really with these Shadow Snakes. So I just go ahead and Surf here instead of Venoshock because I felt like it. And it comes out as a blessing in disguise because he Destiny Bonds. If Surf high rolled again, House was gone. But he tactically low rolls so that Poison takes out Dusknoir and House is alive. Fortress, not a very attacky Pokemon, so doesn't really do anything to Salazar. So I can just switch him out and then go for Toxic. Hold on, we need to see the chat for this one. Okay, so I poisoned Aggron, and the guy's just like, the guy is Steel! So he goes for a Thunder Wave trying to poison the Salazar, and then I just say, Corrosion. And then he leaves. Someone wasn't aware that Corrosion exists. Okay, this one is a PSA on why you should never lead with stall Pokemon, even though I'm always leading with stall Pokemon. Goes for a substitute. That's fine. I don't really want to do anything to Shuckle anyway. I just want to get off my Toxic Spikes and my Stealth Rocks. I switch into it's Snowing because he is unaffected by the Sticky Web because he flies. So now, even though, yes, he did use Swagger, which I guess is kind of scary, but he's like relying on confusion when, like, oh no, he hits himself, but I'm faster than his entire team. So as soon as the confusion ends, I just kill everything. And then he leaves. Even though he can still use... He doesn't know this, because this Thundurus, right? He looks like he's pretty scary, yeah? But it's a gimmick, so I think... maybe someone could have lived something. But he doesn't know that, so he just leaves. Don't lead with a Shuckle. Alright, so I got 2 more Rage Quits here for you. This is the second time that I have poison pointed a Lapini on a Mega Lapini on the first turn of battle. That's pretty astonishing. I switch out here because Leaf Blade is pretty scary. I didn't think it would do this much to Thundurus, but hey, that's just the world we live in. I had to switch out so that Clodsire didn't die. I was hoping Thundurus would do enough to Cortana, but he didn't. So it's off to the Dugtrio to finish him off. But now, I don't have a ground immunity for this Garchomp, which is... yeah, no, he just leaves. Like, he forfeits. Even though he sweeps my team with Garchomp now. Cool. Alright, last Rage Quit. This was a frustrating battle. He's the one who... Keep this in mind. He's the one who turned on the battle timer. Alright? So he leads with this stall Corsola that is much tankier than I thought it would be. And also Nightshade does too much damage to poor Dugtrio. Sucker Punch isn't even gonna do like half. This man's got some insane bulk. That was kind of just a roundabout way to get Salazzle in for the Toxic though, so at least that works. Because now I can switch back into Clodsire, who can wall Corsola. Since I don't have Toxic on Clodsire, I had to figure out a way to poison it because there was no way I was taking it out any way else. I get the recover off here. Since I'm max attack, Strength Sap just recovers him so much health. But since it's badly poisoned, he has to switch out at some point, and he learned what all of my moves were. So he had a safe switch into Thundurus. I had to switch out, giving him a free Nasty Plot. That was well played. I choose Salazzle here for the substitute because Toxapex couldn't do anything. I needed to poison it somehow. But now that Poison Mommy's dead, Venusaur just sweeps my team. Thundurus can't do anything to Whipped Cream Muffin here, so he switches out. I switch back into Toxapex because now House can sweep House with this Pyukumuku, or so I thought. Venoshock is just a 2-shot at half health, unfortunately. He gets the soak and poisons poor House, flipping the Uno reverse on him. Innards out, taking some damage, so now he's probably dead to a discharge here. So I have to switch out into Clodsire, Whipped Cream Muffin, who can stall out Thundurus really well. Although Whipped Cream Muffin can't do anything to him, he gets the... He just sits here and looks pretty, basically. Look at him. What a pretty little guy. Anyway, he gets the recover off here, so now he's at full health while Thundurus is dead. And then he leaves. Even though Venusaur sweeps the rest of the team. I guess he doesn't know that I don't have a flying type move on Thundurus. But yeah, there's nothing I can do. And then he just leaves. So, yeah. That's pretty good for me.